My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Hit subscribe right now. You want to get the take of somebody who knows very well how Democrats cheat and the type of value system they claim to have, but really don't have. They're the biggest hypocrites on the planet. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, according to the Huffington Post, the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet. Now I'm a Trump voter, a Trump supporter. And what do we have here? Bill Nelson is still fundraising. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Bill Nelson is still fundraising. Now, there's a political article yesterday that talked about that, but there are other articles too. So let's just... While party officials refused to discuss the hopelessness of the situation on the record, Florida Democratic Party on Friday, yesterday, continued to fundraise off the recount. He has no chance to win. There's been 3 recounts. The guy is still collecting money. That's how stupid Democrats are. That's why when you have Nico House, Jared Beck, and Elizabeth Beck with the DNC fraud lawsuit, those 3 will live forever because they're the only people who took the DNC to task. $200 million siphoned from Bernie Sanders voters, very likely some of it to pay for the Steele dossier and CrowdStrike, to then initiate the whole Russian hacking nonsense and myth. But while party officials refused to discuss the hopelessness of the situation on the record, the Florida Democratic Party on Friday continued to fundraise off the recount, suggesting to donors that Nelson had a shot to win when his own top backers knew he didn't. So it's called fraud. But, I mean, you can just, this is what, that was Politico. Washington Examiner is talking about that, has spoken about that. We can win this race together, Nelson told supporters in a fundraising email Friday. We can win, this is the Washington Examiner, we can win this together, we can win this race together. We can win this race together. Okay, so then immediately after the recount, votes will continue to increase and increase. This was a fundraising email on November 8th. So November 16th, the email reads, "We can win this race together." It's November 17th now. He has no chance to win. We're going to win this fight. Another email says, so who's stupid enough to believe this? Answer that below in the comments section. What political party is devious enough, disingenuous, insidious enough, vile enough, evil enough to raise money? He's still raising money. He has no chance to win. There's been 3 recounts. There's no chance to win. He's still fundraising. Now, another issue that Democrats, that really highlight the nefarious nature of the Democratic Party is the fact that they won their House seats on Medicare for All. I didn't think people would believe them, but a lot of people voted, and there was energy, apparently, for Medicare for All. Now, what are they focusing on? Gun control. They lied through their teeth, as usual. They're not going to, there's no Medicare for All, there's no green economy bill, they're all lying. But the Medicare for All issue is important. I don't think it's feasible. The Mercatus study says you double or triple tax collection, which would then tank the economy. It wouldn't generate growth, economic growth. It would actually just tank the economy. The people who couldn't afford premiums today wouldn't be able to afford Medicare for All premiums because Medicare has premiums right now. You have $5,700 out of pocket on average. That's just one estimate. That's according, I believe, to thefool.com, an investment site. Then you have the Affordable Care Act that isn't so affordable. It's $7,600 out of pocket for people. But you have Democrats have won. They've actually, Republicans increased their lead in the House only the 5th time in 105 years. So only the 5th time in a century. Considering everything that Trump has been through with the media and a fake, phony, fabricated investigation where there's no evidence but many claims, compared to Hillary Clinton, where there's a load of evidence. She committed numerous crimes, likely still committing crimes, and yet, James Comey said she didn't intentionally do what she intentionally did. transfer top secret intelligence from SIPRNet, JWICs, and SCIFs onto her unencrypted server, once unencrypted server. But the important thing here is that 2 years, the worst thing to ever happen to Democrats is them getting the House, because they have no. You have 5-senator lead, 5-senator lead in for SCOTUS. So it's 47-52 right now. With Mississippi, the special election very likely will be 53-47. That is enough to get Amy Coney Barrett into the Supreme Court. They're not going to pull a Kavanaugh. So you have complete power. The majority of the political power rests with Trump and Republicans in the executive, in the Senate, and also in the duplicity of the Democratic Party. So they're still fundraising with Bill Nelson, but they've promised their voters things that can't be achieved and things they don't want to be achieved. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If they were to actually run on Medicare for All, they'd have to go into 2020 saying, we're going to raise your taxes exponentially. We're going to raise your taxes. We're running on this. And you know what? You'll get Medicare for All. People will not want that. And then economists will come out and say, hey, you know what? It'll tank the economy. This is not going to work out. These are what the new tax structures would be. They're not going to run on that. But if they don't run on that, you're going to have an internal conflict that makes 2016 DNC primary look like, the teacup ride at Disneyland. So they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. If they don't follow through on Medicare for All, they're done for 2020. If they do follow through, they're done for 2020. So 2020 is going to look very good for Trump. The DNC primary alone is going to be just utter madness and insanity. And you can see right now, look, Bill Nelson is still fundraising. This is a big problem. This is a huge problem. And now we know also why they decided to have all these recounts. Well, it's a great fundraising tool. In addition to cheating, it's a great fundraising tool. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe.